These seasons have little to almost no connection to the first 5 seasons, as some of the characters look absolutely nothing like they did before and print type and layout is completely different. Not to mention, these seasons are completely disrespectful to the original source material. Many elements from the classic seasons are non-existent in these seasons, let alone the fact there is no continuity to any of them. The biggest example being Diley's price and her shop. Diley's was redesigned to the point where she looks absolutely nothing like her original self, and her shop also looks nothing like how it looked in the previous seasons either. It was completely redesigned with no rhyme or reason why. It's just now a supermarket, even though a normal supermarket looks about many times bigger than Diley's shop. However, ever since Season 8, the shop is no longer called a supermarket, a likely sign that the writers realized all this. These seasons are rather pointless to begin with, since the show really didn't need to be revived again, as Hit Entertainment already revived it before with Season 5, which ended up being a really good season and a great way at trying to revive it. They could have simply continued with the stop-motion animation or they could have taken all the great elements from Season 5 and put them over into Season 6, but for unknown reasons, Hit Entertainment decided to not do that and instead revive the show again, and therefore causing the decline to happen. Much like the Bob the Builder 2015 reboot, Postman Pat's Special Delivery Service, and Thomas and Friends, Big World, Big Adventures, and All Engines Go. These seasons try way too hard to modernize the show, but it's modernized very poorly to the point where it doesn't even feel like the same show anymore, and instead feels like every other generic kids show. The show now uses CGI animation. While the reason for switching to CGI can at least be justifiable, as stop-motion animation is not easy to create in real life, the problem with the CGI animation, at least in Season 6-10, is that it is a massive downgrade from the animation in Season 5, and is also the worst CGI animation in any kids show ever, as it looks robotic, jagged, outdated, dull, weak, ugly, and lazy, especially in Seasons 6 and 7, due to them having very low-quality animation and washed-out textures and colors to the point where it looks somewhat a bit like something out of a video Brinkedo film. Even Thomas and Friends CGI animation in Seasons 13-16 and Seasons 22-24, while not the best or the worst respectively, is far better. Thankfully, it has improved a little since Season 11 when DHX took over, but not enough to make itself look good. Aside from the unneeded character redesigns like Diley's, the overall character designs in these seasons are extremely unappealing to look at, and unlike the first 5 seasons, which had the characters designed in a mix between a realistic and cartoonish style, the characters have only realistic designs, which does not suit them. Most of the main characters have gotten flanderized beyond recognition. Norman Price has gone from a mischievous boy who would play harmless tricks into an extremely unlikable, loud, whiny and annoying brat who does horrible things for the pettiest reasons, like tying James to a chair for a stupid stunt video and even trapping him inside the changing rooms by literally gluing the door shut just so he could be the star of a synchronized swimming show. To make matters worse, every episode where he is the main character ends with him apologizing for his irresponsible and/or reckless behavior, with the team letting him off with a warning and Norman acting like he's learned his lesson, but soon forgets everything he's learned in the next episode. Elvis Cridlington has gone from a somewhat timid, yet a friendly firefighter into an idiotic fireman that is scared of being in a helicopter harness even though he's a fireman, and feeds Radar the fire station dog chocolate, which are sweets that can actually kill dogs, mistaking them for doggy treats. Station Officer Steele has gone from a strict and mature authority figure into a silly doofus who never reprimands Elvis when he does something wrong. Not to mention, he now has a weird obsession with kids' toys for some reason. Sarah and James have gone kind and caring siblings who both loved each other no matter what, into problematic siblings that act like complete jerks to the point where they constantly quarrel and fight each other 24/7 for no reason or rhyme whatsoever. Much of the voice acting is pretty bad. Some of the offending voices include Norman UK version, Elvis, Sarah, James and plenty of other characters because of how annoying and unpleasant they are to listen to. These seasons try too hard to be hip with the kids, such as having the characters use smartphones, which isn't a bad thing since everyone uses smartphones nowadays, but here it feels quite out of place since the first 5 seasons rarely tried to be hip with kids. In fact, there was even an entire episode, namely Alien Bug Hunt, which capitalizes on the craze that was generated by Pokemon. It's true that Pokemon is the most popular franchise in the world and that Pokemon is a popular app, but dedicating a whole parody of Pokemon like that really shows none of the writers were even trying here. The music is rather bland compared to the previous seasons, even the rendition of the iconic rescue theme that was recomposed from the 5th season got really dull and repetitive too. It never stops until the rescue is over. The series also gained lots of controversies too. The season 9 episode Troubled Waters ended up being banned due to a scene where Elvis accidentally steps and slips on a page of the Quran. In other words, a very, very good way to invite a terrorist attack. Hit Entertainment later realized this was a big mistake and stated that they would no longer be working with Xing Xing Digital, one of the animation companies working for the show since the switch to CGI in the first place back in 2008, causing the show to be animated by DHX instead from season 11 onwards. Though unintentionally most of the time, most of these episodes can show kids very bad morals. For example, in most episodes where Norman starts a fire, steals a vehicle, or even traps another person, he is never given much of a punishment aside from Sam telling him not to do that. While not as badly as in the Bob the Builder 2015 reboot, some of the main characters were completely absent or were removed entirely. Bella is completely absent during season 6-9 despite her calf still being there. When she returned in season 10, it's revealed that she moved to Newtown, which makes no sense considering how successful her business was doing back in season 5. To make things even worse, Bella has still not been seen working at her calf since her return to CGI, and has only occasionally been seen helping make pizza, which is another example why the CGI Fireman Sam series is a completely different show than the 1987 series. Despite being introduced in season 5 and having important roles in many episodes of that season, Dusty was completely removed in season 6 for no reason at all, and was likely replaced with Radar, who was one of the characters introduced in season 6. Rosa was also completely removed since Bella didn't make any appearances at all during season 6-9. What makes it even worse is that even though Bella returned in season 10, Rosa has still yet to return to the series. Though it was likely that Rosa wasn't brought back because her design might have clashed with Lion's design, who is another character that was introduced in season 6. The show was unnecessarily dubbed to American English for American audiences. It is rather pointless and unnecessary since that Fireman Sam is supposed to be a show set in Wales, so there is no reason whatsoever to even dub a show to American English if it takes place in a country from Great Britain. In fact, when Fireman Sam aired on Sprott and on Kubo in 2020, the original UK dub aired. They didn't dub it into US English until 2014 when it came to Amazon Prime Video. Even this version came out on Netflix starting in 2020 using the UK dub, and it was still completely understandable. The original series was localized to the US in a 3-episode VHS tape released by FHE Family Home Entertainment in 1989, and the UK dub still maintained. It is also pointless since season 5 was never dubbed to American English when it was brought over to America in the late 2000s or the early 2010s. The scripts for each episode are flat and badly written. The humor is less funny too, whereas either a character says an awful pun or the joke comes off as really bland, stupid, and dull. The worst episode of the series is arguably Froggy Fantasy. To make matters worse, several of the episodes are written by people like Andrew Brenner, someone best known for his work on season 17-21 of Thomas and Friends. To be fair though, this was the start of Andrew Brenner working for Hit Entertainment, which eventually resulted in the Brenner era of Thomas and Friends. So without these seasons, Thomas and Friends may not have gotten any better after season 16. These seasons almost never take themselves seriously, even when there's an emergency. When the original series always knew when to be serious, it got serious. These seasons sometimes incorporate things like sci-fi elements, which feels very out of place considering the show had a down-to-earth tone of the first 5 seasons, in which that tone is somewhat non-existent here. Similar to PAW Patrol, Peppa Pig and Postman Pat's Special Delivery Service, these seasons commonly introduce new characters, vehicles and locations just to sell toys and milk out on a popular TV show. Speaking of which, the toys for the show are very poor quality now, as they have little paint on them. The paint they do have is poor quality and scratches easily, and the toys have a very low amount of detailing. Some reviews have also stated that the vehicles break easily. To promote these toys, the series also often uses a very unnecessary amount of vehicles for each rescue. In fact, they can often use up to 3 rescue vehicles to save